Good evening for those of you who are still awake, and for those of you who will catch me in the morning. But I thought to just record this video in response or as a reaction to the teaching that we received from Mama Tebula yesterday of Hope Restoration Ministries. She was teaching on grieving together. You know, that sermon, I listened to it 3 times. Yeah, it was deep, and it reminded me of things I've gone through. It made me think of what I've gone through. It made me question, what am I grieving over? And I thought, let me just share some few things about myself and what I have gone through in just the last few months. So yeah, 2020 wasn't the greatest of years, but it was a good year. I had a lot of juggling up of business. I did a lot of things to survive through the lockdown that we thought was only going to be just for 21 days. I remember during the 21 days, we had a party, we had fun eating everything up, and it was a whole lot of fun. And as a family, that lockdown we became very close to each other. There was a lot of time to do family devotions. So spiritually, we actually grew much more than we ever did before. I think that's my opinion, because then during lockdown we were able to read the Bible more, share more. The children, even at the age of 10, 9, they were able to be the ones leading the prayer sessions. We were able to fast and pray together, things that generally other families wouldn't necessarily do, or even children of that age, they wouldn't necessarily fast, pray, lead a prayer session and so forth. So I believe they also grew, and we also realized what they were good at that time. I remember one of my niece was struggling even at school, and during that time, that's where she picked up very well, and she really outperformed what we ever thought or imagined. But anyway, so 2020, that's when I got excited. 2020 is when I sold my car, my first car that I had to Syria, and I sold it. I thought I was going to buy another car, the same car. Actually, I wanted the same car, but I couldn't then get the same car. I was disappointed by many people who were selling. I ended up buying an Fiat Uno, and then I bought another Fiat Uno. And then I had to drive an Uno for some time because I couldn't get what I was looking for, and I didn't want to buy a car on debt. I was hoping the same money that I sold my car for would actually buy me the next car. I hoped that I would make money out of the money that I make. I would put together that money towards buying another car, but it didn't really work out that way. So it was a tough year, but at the same time, it was exciting because I got involved in a lot of things. I got to sell trucks, I got to sell cars, I got to sell buggies. I was really exposed to a lot of things. So it was great. I missed all that. There was a lot of changes in terms of my stuff at work. Lots of changes in what I did and how I do it. So yeah, 2020 was a challenging year, but a year worth experiencing. So when I think about now in 2021, what am I grieving over? What do I wish I had that I didn't have, that I don't have now? What do I wish I could have achieved that I did not? What did I lose that made me cry in 2021? So when Mama Tebula was teaching yesterday, there was a lot of emotions. There was a lot of emotions, but at the same time, I thought to myself, this sermon about grieving together, it's an opportunity for one to reflect on what emotions are going through each and every one of us, and what are my emotions. So today as well, during the family devotion, I got to to think about the sermon again. I wish I could listen to the sermon again, and this time I will actually write notes. For the fourth time, I would listen to the sermon again of Pastor Matebula on grieving together. I would listen to that sermon over and over again. If you've lost something in your life, you lost your job, you lost a family member, you lost your dreams, you lost vision of what you were doing or where you're going, I would just highly suggest listen to the sermon of yesterday, the 16th of May, 2021, Hope Restoration Ministries, Pastor Matebula. So what did I lose? Generally, you would think that my greatest grief would be losing my partner. In January, my partner had gone home, and coming back, he realized that I'm losing appetite. I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling weak and weak and weak and weak. And later we realized, this should be covered. After going through for consultation, after going for a test, it was confirmed, it was covered. And going through the process of isolating yourself and then making sure he's fine, and going through seeing him being helpless, seeing him become hopeless. And then, you're pushing each other and you're encouraging each other, and you are encouraging him in the word, and he says something else in the word, and you are praying to the Lord, please, Lord, don't take him. And then life happens. He wishes and says, you know what, Kokezo, this is too tough and I would rather go. And indeed, he passed away in end of January. So as a businesswoman, January was a tough month, Beginning, I remember the 1st or the 2nd of January, I did a video. I was excited. This year is going to be the best year ever. And I'm already starting and I can see the light, and I felt like I will achieve so much more in the year 2021. But January, I had to go on isolation because I was the one taking him for consultation. I was the one driving him to go take his test. I was checking if he's healthy. I was checking if he's fine. And after going on isolation, losing 2 weeks of doing business, after trying to come back again, it was tough. And then so end of January, he passes away. When he passes away, I had to then get myself again. And then you're trying to think, how do you grieve and still become the businesswoman that you're supposed to be, and run a business that you are single-handedly really, pushing and running the business, and being in the business of property and doing rentals. There's landlords who are expecting you to do things, give reports, go check on the tenant. There's tenants who need to move in. There's tenants moving out. The expectations from landlords and everybody else became the same, and yet you are grieving. You've just lost a partner, someone that you thought should be your partner forever, ever, someone that you thought you're hoping even that one day you'll get married to each other, and then they pass away. So end of January was a tough month, and I had to tell myself that I have 2 weeks to grieve. In between the 2 weeks, I had to process payments to owners. I had to make sure the business is running well. I had to communicate with the office. Thank God the office was able to run on their own, but there are certain things that they honestly could not do on their own. So I had to do that, and they had to communicate with me, and it was tough. How do they relate to this boss manager who is grieving, and they know the very person that they were close to? So it was tough. End of January, honestly, it was tough. But I had to put myself together and start working again. So come mid-February, and then the owners got their own expectations. And at that time, Ekurhuleni also decides to block many owners. Whoever wasn't paying, meters were blocked. And then you have a situation where others, you realize that they had tampered with the electricity. I had to go into the municipality's office. So you have to now get out of the grieving mode and then go and sort out business. So February was another tough month on its own. Then quick, we are already end of February. So I went back to work. I think within 2 weeks I went back to work. And I remember going back to the office was was something I was somehow scared about, because I was thinking to myself, how will I be able to be back to the office where I used to spend most of my time with my partner there, you know? He was a partner. We loved each other, yes. He used to go do his own business, come back to my office, and then wait for me to work until late, and then accompany each other home and make sure I'm home safely. When I get home, he's checking, are you home safely? Are you good? Yes, I'm good. We never stayed together. So even during the time when he fell sick, I never stayed there. I would never sleep over there. So, you know, when someone passes away under those situations, you feel as a Christian that, ish, maybe I should have left my faith and stayed with him, looked after him. I should have done this. I should do this. But at the same time, you tell yourself, I can't. My faith and my belief has always been, I'm not a married woman to him. I'm not married to him, so I'm not going to do those things. And I never did. So I did what I could, and I had to accept that though he ended up passing away, it's not my fault. And every day you're dealing with, what could I have done or did not do to end up being where I am? And I had to tell myself, it's okay. But it was a struggle. It really was a struggle. And every day I had to strengthen myself in the Lord. Every day I had to pray to the Lord to strengthen me. Every day I had to pray to the Lord to give me wisdom. Every day, you know, sometimes even if I could not read the Bible, I would have the Bible app and I would play the Bible app. Whether things sank in or not, I just gave it all to the Lord and trusted the Lord, you know, to help me through. During this whole period, it was also a time where sometimes I felt like there was like a weight on me, and I couldn't do the things that I used to be able to do. I couldn't extend myself the way I wished I could extend myself. And I lost business. Some of the business I didn't lose. Some of the business, I personally even started telling the people around me that, listen, I'm not going to be operating the way I used to. I'm not going to be working with you the way I used to work. Some on their own, yes, resigned. And for me, it was like, a weight off my shoulders, please, rather that way than what I was going through. Whew. So, yeah, going through that was tough. But when I listened to the sermon yesterday, Pastor Matebula, Mampinti Matebula, and I remember, and when I look back and I thought to myself, am I still grieving? And what am I grieving over? I realized my greatest grief is the business itself, Kokiras. Kokiras Consulting, when it was birthed in 2018 and I started operating in 2019, my vision of what it is and what it's supposed to become and how I'm going to run it is somehow different to how it is now. And I really wish that I would have the same staff that I started Kokiras Consulting with. That staff understood my vision quite well and they gelled in with the staff very well. I was really honestly very blessed. How 2019 was actually the best year for Kokiras Consulting. It ran smoothly, it was growing, it was profitable, and everything was automated. And at the moment when I wanted to then grow in November of 2019, when I wanted to then grow and expand, that's where the challenge came in. And I don't know, the person that I was supposed to grow with decided to resign, block me, and then you have another person disappearing because of their own personal issues. So it was tough because they leave during month end when it's your most busiest time and you have to carry a lot of things. And that's where Kokiras Consulting started, going through a whole lot of shaking. But God being God, we still grew, we still survived. We changed admin stuff, I don't know how many times. I mean, even as I speak now, I've just had another admin staff ago, so Gokiras Consulting, it's as if it's back to 2019 when it really started. We basically a staff of 3 people, and I'm the agent, I'm the one managing the business. And the way things are right now, I'm looking at the business and thinking, what a mess of a business. It's not what it's supposed to be. The management, the administration of it is nothing compared to what I expected it to be. What you asked that it be done, it's not. And you look at that and you say, so where did it go wrong? And the truth of the matter is, I would be the one as well who may have caused it to be where it is, because I did not make the necessary follow-ups during the whole management process. You ask, please do this, and then you think they're doing it, but they're not really doing it. And by the time you realize, there's such a big mess. And at the moment, I am so grateful to my mother when she realized, and when I had to break down and say, yo, this is what's happening. And she stepped in and she said, fine, I'll help you with the administration, and I'll help you put things in order. And it took time and it took a lot of strain, realizing what your weaknesses are and how people can help you. You know, every time I employed someone, I explained to them what my weaknesses are and I was hoping that they will help me, because every business person that goes out there and you start a business, it's not because you don't necessarily know what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. You know exactly what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and you employ someone to come and take over that responsibility so that you can take care of other things. And then when you come back and you realize that it's not done the way you expected it to be done, or not done at all when you have spoken about it, called the training meeting, had a discussion, and it's not done, it's such a drawback to start all over again and fix a whole file that was supposed to just follow step 1 to 5, you know. So right now, when I look at what am I grieving over, I long for the Gokiras of 2019, the Gokiras of 2019 that was orderly, that was automated, that was profitable. I long for Gokiras that could advertise a property today, and then within a week, the next day, I've got a tenant for it. I long for a Gokiras that when a tenant calls me and says they are looking for a property, that when I show them 5 different options, they would exactly see what would be suitable for them, and they would go for it without question or anything. I long for a Gokiras where when tenants make applications, they can actually afford what they are looking for, and they are not having high expectations, because today, when a client is looking for a place, they're looking to downgrade. They're moving from a 3-bedroom place and they're looking for a 1-bedroom. And they want to take all the stuff from the 3-bedroom and fit them in this 1-bedroom. They are willing to let go maybe of the couch, or not even the couch. They want to let go of the extra mattress, you know, the extra bed, and they don't want to really let go of the things that they've gathered for the last so many years. We have a lot of tenants who are downgrading, but they don't want to downgrade the standard of living that they've been having all along. They want to reduce the price, but they don't want to reduce the space. They want the same space for less amount of money, and that makes it tough on the agent who needs to find them that place, and who needs to make sure that they are happy where they are, because if they're not happy, they'll secure that place just for now, and then within 2-3 months they're already moving again because they were looking for a bigger space. We find a lot of tenants now who may have just lost the job, so with the retrenchment or whatever savings they have enough money to live for another 3 months or whatever while they are searching for another job. And as an estate agent, I cannot necessarily bring them into this landlord's property when I cannot confirm where their monthly rent will come from, because if I take this tenant who doesn't have enough income to pay for this property, sooner or later I'll be dealing with arrears and dealing with non-payment and dealing with a very unhappy landlord, you know. Then you have landlords who themselves are going through financial challenges. This landlord has also had to deal with downgrading in terms of their salary. Maybe they are even retrenched, and this landlord cannot afford to be without a rental income. Some landlords have taken their big properties and they have subdivided it. They have made a makeshift quick cottage and expecting that someone should move in and that will give them a monthly income. It is a good concept, and it's something that I would advise anyone, to say, listen, you have your whole house, you have the garage, park your car outside and rent out the garage to someone, and that can pay the bills. It can help pay the bills. But if you're going to be turning your garage into a cottage or a livable space, but you're not able to paint it, or when you paint it, the quality of paint is bad, or the quality of the workmanship is bad, it means that it will just take even longer to actually rent out that space. So I am now sitting with a lot of cottages that even when I go in to look at those cottages, I personally wish I had the money to actually go in and paint this place for them properly. I wish I had the money just to put cupboards. There was a time when I had second-hand cupboards that I was selling, and you tell this landlord, listen, I can give you these cupboards for 450 rand, and maybe do this with the sink, do that, and we buy second-hand material or furniture and things like that. And this landlord really honestly cannot even afford even the cheapest things which are available in the market. And it was a struggle, because what Kokiras was in the past, I could actually come in and find you as a landlord and say, fine, I'll come in, I'll paint this for you, I'll bring someone to come and paint, I'll get them to do this and that, and then this will cost you so much. And then once we get a tenant, then we can start paying back what we've spent on. But Kokiras is not as profitable as it used to be. Kokiras is not, I'm not the same Koketso who is able to advertise a property today and get it rented out the next day. So the cash flow is not as much as it used to be. So when landlords then come in and say, Koketso, I have a whole house to rent out and I want to get a rental income of 9,500. And you say, Mr. Landlord, Miss Landlord, how did you get to the amount of 9,500? And they're telling you my bond is 8,000 rand and the rates and taxes are another 2,000. So I'm not even recovering everything. So at least if I can make 9.5, it's okay. And when you look at this house, it's not worth the 9,500 that they want, but here I am as an agent. I need to please the landlord and get them the tenant. At the same time, the tenant won't pay so much because they are also downgrading themselves. And as an agent, I have a fear that if I then bring in this tenant who will pay 9,500 every month, how long will this tenant be able to pay the 9,500? And how guaranteed am I that they will be able to sustain this 9,500? Because COVID has taught us a lot. It has taught us that as someone who would be earning very, very well could just wink of an eye lose all that and not be able to pay it any longer. By God's grace, 2020 wasn't so hard because most of the tenants did pay their rent. Well, in my company, most of them did pay their rents. Those who couldn't pay it made arrangements and later on paid it. But there is the reality of the fear of going through COVID, going through tenants who get retrenched, tenants who are not really earning enough to pay for all their expenses. Because when you come as a tenant to Kokiras Consulting, I then ask how many people will be staying with you, what are the age groups of the children, and I have to be realistic. Are you going to be telling me with an income of 15,000 that you can take care of 4 other people because your partner is not working? You can take your children to school, pay for their school fees, their transport, groceries, and live. It's not easy. But then the landlords expect that they must find a tenant who can pay the bills that they have on the house. The tenant is downgrading from where they were to a smaller place, but they need this place to still be decent. They still need it to be neat. So My grief is to go back to those days where it was a little bit easy to do business, to those days where I could afford to take my own money and help a landlord live on. Is to go back. Sometimes as an estate agent, when I rent out a property, I charge an admin fee, because that admin fee somehow, some way subsidizes the up and downs that I would have done as an agent, showing properties, moving from one place to the other. Then this tenant says, no, I'm not interested in that one, or whatever the case is. At least it covers some basic costs. But doing rentals in this day and age is not so profitable. The profit should come from sales. But even when we talk sales, there's not a lot of stock out there. And when there is stock, it goes so quickly. So I would love right now to have people who say, Koketsa, I want to sell. That's what I need. That's what I would love. But there's not a lot of that. But when you have it, it's great. And when you have it, you hope it's at the right price. The same as rentals. Right now, I have a stock of over 40 properties that I need to rent out. You would think that with over 40 properties that I need to rent out, with inquiries coming in every day, that surely each day I should be able to rent out a property. And that means that each day I would be making a 500 Rand, 1,000 Rand per day. And with that being an admin fee plus the commission, I should be able to cover my monthly cost and my debts and everything else. But reality is, it's not that, So I personally, yes, I'm also at fault where I have made people relax and know that Koketsa will be able to cover me. When they go through challenges, they say, Koketsa, please help. You'll take your money next month. But it can't work like that anymore. I hope that I could get to a place where landlords can also understand that the times have changed. Yes, you were able to rent out your property or your townhouse for 6,000 a month, but now your tenant is moving out of your townhouse simply because they cannot afford the 6,000 that they've been affording all along. And if you lose that tenant who pays you well, you are then going into the risk of taking up someone who also honestly cannot afford 6,000 a month. So I'm looking forward to working with landlords who understand the times that we are living in now. That a townhouse that used to be renting for 6.5 might have to be now rented out at 5.5. I'm looking for a landlord who may understand that their bachelor cottage that used to rent out for 3,000 or 3.5 should now be rented out for 2.5, because it's a combination of our economy and a combination of our challenges that causes us to review how we used to do business. There are times where, when I listen to the stories of these tenants who are coming through, some have just got a new job. And as they've just got a new job and nobody's working, or there's been challenges at home, they cannot afford to pay me an admin fee. So I have to waive the admin fee, or at least charge them half the admin fee. I have to negotiate with the landlord that could this tenant pay over 2 months rather than 1 month. Business have changed, So myself as a business owner have to review how I used to do business. I wish as well that the people that we work with, our staff, our employees, could understand that for my business or any business owner's business to continue running, they have to put a much more effort than they used to. It's a combination. We have to work together. And sometimes times are so hard that I cannot even afford to, I can't disclose everything, and I cannot discuss everything with my employees. And sometimes when you do, they lose hope. They become depressed about the whole situation. But what kept me going, like what keeps me going even now, what makes me think, there's a light, we're just going through this tunnel, is because I just put my hope in the Lord, I know that my bread, my water, my everything, it is the Lord himself, God Almighty. He's the only one. When I think about Jesus Christ on the cross, I think victory. And when I look at the business, I tell myself, though I go through the valley of shadow of death, there's debts, there's arrears, there's sometimes even the service that one gives to the owners, because if you're grieving over so many things and you don't perform the best that you used to perform, you don't say you could say the right things, but sometimes the energy to do what you used to do the way you do it's just not there. And every day you push yourself, and every day you pray, Lord, give me the energy. You get excited over the little things that you've achieved for the day. Like the other day, I just did stickers. When you put one sticker up, it's just excitement. When you've put a tenant inside a property, it's just excitement. You feel like you've helped so many people. And when you meet landlords who say, you know what, Kokets, I've realized that we're in Kempton Park, I've got a place, it has a bed, it has this, do you have anyone that can come through? I'm willing to take only this little. It's such a relief. So to everyone out there who's going through tough times, know that you are not alone. Some tough times are not just in business. Sometimes tough times are things that we've gone through. And sometimes people may think that the things that we've gone through, losing a loved one, some people have lost a business. So when you're still having a business that you can still carry and look for solutions to the challenges that you are meeting as you are going through this business, you just simply thank the Lord that you have something to work on. You just thank the Lord that you can still look for solutions. You thank the Lord for the little victories that you realize every day. And I just want to say to everybody, don't lose hope. Do not lose hope. Do not lose hope. Do not lose hope. It's just a matter of time. And then we will be able to get to a point where we will celebrate these hard times that we are going through. Because it's either you are in this tunnel and you cannot see how to get out, but you can see where there is an exit up there, but you don't understand how to get there. Just focus and concentrate on the little light that you see in your business, the little light that you see in your family. Do not give up on your children. Do not give up on the little victories that you see every day. Just push on. I know I've sat with owners who feel, it's just a matter of time. I'm losing my property. And I'm saying to you, don't confess negative things about your property. Rather confess the good that you want to see in your property. When I meet a tenant who is unrealistic about what they want, unrealistic about where they want to live, I remind this tenant that it's just for a little time. You have to downgrade for a little time. But sooner or later, you'll get up again and you'll need to move on. Let's not give up, but let's not be afraid to downgrade for a little time. Let us not be afraid to just accept a lower rental income than we used to, because most of us are saying, but my property is worth 7,000 koketso. Why do you want to tell me I should rent it out for 5,500? So are you willing to let your property sit without any income for the first month, second month, third month, just because you are stuck on your price? But if you could just reduce on your price, just for the next 6 months, reduce on your price drastically, because getting 5,000 is better than not getting anything. Just because you are hoping on your 7.7, just because you are hoping on getting a tenant that will pay everything. So now you don't want to move out of your house, which you can't pay a bond. You don't want to move out of the house to rent it out. Or maybe stay in the house and section out the house and rent out part of it. But when you feel that you don't want to stay with any other tenants, you don't want to be sharing the house with anyone, but you are risking losing everything. You see? Then there's tenants who want to stay with their beautiful furniture. They want to stay with their 2 bedrooms, but you are alone. And you've gone through a separation, or you are going through some challenges that you don't also understand. Just squeeze yourself in a little space, but it's just for 6 months. Sooner or later, you'll realize that the 6 months have passed and you're able to make it in life. I'm just saying to everybody out there, we have lost a lot. And it's not just the loved ones that we've had. We've lost who we are. We've lost the things that we used to enjoy. We've lost, some people say, Kokets, I know you're such a giver. And sometimes My grief is that I cannot give as much as I used to. And it saddens me sometimes that I cannot do the things that I used to because I cannot spend as I used to. I used to travel with my car, and when a tenant moves in, then they say to me, "Oh, okay, so there's no light bulb." I just go and give them a light bulb. I won't even call the owner and say, "Listen, the tenant doesn't have a light bulb." When a tenant moves in and the door handle doesn't work, I know I could just call my handyman to come and change the door handle, and life goes on. But there are times when I personally can't afford to even give you that door handle. There's a time when I can't afford to just go and paint that wall for you. There are times when things that I used to easily do, I cannot do. And we have to accept that that's where we are. But it's only for a little time. For now, if we work together and understand that we are all going through tough times, but we talk about it and we look for solutions, and while waiting for the solutions, we don't talk anything negative about where we are. We have to talk positive. We have to look at God and say, "Lord, where am I now? And where do you want me to go? And how do I get out of here?" And sometimes the Lord will tell you to just stay where you are. You must carry on pushing the way you're pushing, even though you see things not moving the way they're supposed to move. Sometimes I look at my business and I say, I can't believe I'm where I am. My vision and how I want to serve my clients and the solution that I was bringing in is supposed to be like this, and it's not there. Right now, it looks like a miry clay. It looks like a mess. It looks like something I don't know. But I'm trusting the Lord day by day to give light. And I'm just saying, the day shall come. Let us not get tired of doing what is good. And let us not get tired of saying the Lord is with us and He knows best. He knows best and He will get us through it. I love you all. And if you need any help, free evaluations, if you need to consult for free, please, when I come to your house, don't keep me for more than 30 minutes, if at most 45 minutes, because these days I find myself helping a lot of people just talking. Sometimes people even mess up how their houses looks. Before you do renovations, rather call me and ask what clients are looking for, and I'm willing to share the knowledge that I have. I love you guys. And yeah, we can do it only if we trust in the Lord and we put all our hope in Him, not in people. God always wanted us to have a conversation, to have a communion, to have a relationship directly with Him. We should not depend on some minister, some pastor, some prophet. When we listen to the teachings like we listened to yesterday, we listen to these teachings and we apply it in our lives, and we are able to push on. We appreciate the ministries that we get through the different pastors. I actually have enjoyed what COVID has done, because it has allowed us to grow and get exposure in many things, and to realize who we truly are. We can make it, and we are stronger than we think. I love you. Thank you.